we're going to now head over to Marija Potter. If you've been involved with FLINT for a while, you'll have come across Marija before. She's been involved in a few events, and particularly one around resilience, and then also earlier this year around working from home. Marija is an industrial psychologist, and she has been working in the tech industry for, well, I was going to say many years, but we'll just say a few years, and most recently with IBM, but she is now the Global Director of Consulting Services with Fuel 50. You can see she's sharing her screen, and I'm going to hand over to you, Marija.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Craig. And Carol, thank you so much for sharing the story. I feel it was authenticity bubbling everywhere. I loved it. I think I've got some questions for you at the end too. So as Craig's just said, I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and part of my life mission is to help people go to work happy every day. So for me to come and to have 15 minutes to just say 3 things that I think are going to support you to be more career agile and happy at work is a very, very difficult task, but I'll give it a go. The first tip is play to your talents. Now, Carol and Kirsty both mentioned a number of times about their passions. Carol provided a great example of how passionate she was about people and mentoring others. And as we know, this seems a bit cliche, but people say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So I typically say to people, great, what do you love to do? And they look at me with a blank face. Because actually understanding yourself and what you love to do means that you need to stop and reflect on who you are and what makes you happy on a day-to-day basis. But if you can crack that nut, you're going to have a more meaningful, fulfilled and agile career. So obviously, I'm here to be helpful and not just tell you things you already know. So I want to start you on that journey of how you can ring fence and spotlight your own personal passions. So I'm going to do that by showing you this talent agility matrix. Now looking at that, it's very, very complicated and confusing, but let me talk you through it. So as you can see here, there's 2 axes. On the y-axis, it's about thinking about, am I good at this thing, at this skill, at this capability? On the x-axis, down the bottom, is how passionate am I about it? Now to bring this to life, I'm going to give you a story about my career. Okay, so I've been an industrial organizational psychologist for over 15 years now, and a big part of my role is data analysis. So I look at inputs in an organization, and I look at outcomes in terms of employee satisfaction, retention, etc. As a result of this, I am fantastic at Excel. Now, if I look on that y-axis, am I good at doing it? I would say I'm highly proficient, which puts me right up the top here. Now, the next question is, am I passionate about using Excel? Because I have overused this skill, to me it is now, Excel is a fun sponge. If I use it too much in a day, I feel miserable. So as a result, I would firmly put the skill of Excel down here in the bottom left as a talent I want to avoid using. Now that in itself is powerful for me, and for me making decisions today and in the future to ensure I've got a more fulfilled and agile career. Now let me use another example. Something I'm desperately passionate about, and you can probably see it right now, is telling stories and communication. I love it. When I do it, I feel happy. When I do it and I go to bed at night, I feel fulfilled. And when I know I'm doing a session like this, I get out of bed, I bounce out of bed, I do backflips out of bed. That's what passion looks like for me, is telling stories and communicating. And am I good at it? The jury's still out. But for me, this puts it on the quadrant of it either being a motivated talent or a talent sweet spot. So for you, it's about thinking about your career, thinking about your role, thinking about your interactions on a day-to-day basis, and using this quadrant. What is it that you're extremely passionate about? And what are those things that you're very good at as well? And if you can uncover your talent sweet spot, then you can make great decisions to ensure you're happy at work today and in the future. Now, bear in mind, Excel used to be my talent sweet spot. 10 years ago, I used to love it. So whenever I'm feeling a little bit dissatisfied, or maybe I've had a significant career change because of redundancy or restructure, I'll go back to this talent agility matrix. I'll sit down and I'll spend a little bit of time reflecting on those skills and where they sit on this quadrant, and then it provides me with a really nice North Star to make sure I'm on the right track, which is aligned to my talents and my passions in my career. So that was my first tip. And we're leaving you with an exercise. After the session, we'll send it to you. And just by answering 3 simple questions will help you isolate what your talents and passions are. So good luck with that. It's definitely worth it. Now, my second tip, one of which runs parallel with what both Kirsty and Carol said, is continuously develop yourself. Now, what I'm showing on the screen now is something that actually Kirsty referenced in her conversation at the beginning of the session. So organisations used to be very predictable, very hierarchical, and this is what a standard career would look like. You'd be in a role for a year or 2, and then you'd get a promotion. And this was what a career journey looked like. Very much in a role, promotion, in a role, promotion. Now, over the last 5 years, we've seen organisational structures change significantly. They've flattened. Loads and loads of layers of management and command and control have been stripped out, making organisations a lot flatter. Now, the benefit from this, from an organisational standpoint, is that decision makers are closer to their customers. It's more innovative. Organisations are faster and more agile. But what this results in is a very, very different career landscape. So what you can see now in terms of that red line represents our career journeys today. And what's significantly different is that each and every one of us will see ourselves in these long runs in the same grade or level of an organisation, not for a year, but for some people that's stretching for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And so when it does come, when you get a promotion, because the organisation's a lot flatter, we're seeing the jump is significantly steeper. So a big tip here for career agility is to continuously learn and develop along those longer runs, ensuring that you're more employable. So as Kirsty said, she said it was about the acquisition of skills by moving laterally, but also it means that you are ready for when you take that steeper jump up in your career up that ladder. So my final point on this, and yes, I loved what Carol said, your career is very much going to be like a jungle gym and no longer like a ladder, as that just showed. And it's highly likely that your career move will be a sideways or lateral one. So stop looking up and start looking left and right across organisations to think, what's an intelligent move I can make to acquire new skills, new experiences, and new learnings that will make me more employable today and in the future. So over is the new up. Now my last tip to leave with you is to adopt a growth mindset. Again, this is very much aligned to what both Kirsty and Carol said about resilience, about strength, and about working hard. That's what a growth mindset's all about. There's 2 reasons why I've left this one for last, and 2 reasons why, as a psychologist, whenever I have an opportunity, I really emphasise the importance of a growth mindset. Is because people who have one have been found to be significantly more successful and fulfilled in their careers and in their life. But also what I love about a growth mindset is it's like a muscle. It's something that you can develop over time. So you may look at this and go, I don't have a growth mindset now. I'm more reminiscent of a fixed mindset. But what's beautifully empowering about the concept of the growth mindset is it's something that we can develop. And having awareness just of there being a spectrum of a fixed versus a growth mindset is the first step in your development. So let me describe somebody who has a growth mindset. So there's a few things that jump out. When it comes to, approaching the world around them, just so as Carol said at the beginning of her story about her career experience, it's all about that hard work ethic. It's not something necessarily that you're born with a skill. You can develop anything. So people with a growth mindset are fixed on the idea that if I work hard, I can get that. Additionally, challenges are embraced and they're seen as a chance to grow. They're not something that people reel away from. Again, drawing on Carol's story, every time she saw a challenge, she shut down her imposter syndrome voice and used it as an opportunity to grow. And as we could hear in her story, she absolutely did that. The third element is that people with a growth mindset are very hungry to learn. So, as I've just shown in my tip 2, that appetite to learn from others, from experiences, putting themselves out there for that continual development and betterment of themselves. And finally, setbacks are seen as unavoidable. Hey, look, I'm a straight shooter. Careers, life, it's going to throw challenges at you, and they're unavoidable. But if you've got a growth mindset, you'll see it, you'll experience it, and you'll use it to teach you to be stronger and more agile in the future. So there's a huge amount of research that you can read on a growth mindset. I'll set a challenge for you. I know a lot of us go to the gym, we brush our teeth a couple times a day, but I'd love you to read up on a growth mindset. And each night when you're brushing your teeth, I'd love you to reflect on your day and to think, what did I do today which represented a growth mindset? Or what did I do that was very much fixed, and how could I change that tomorrow? And if you bring this little ritual into your day for just a couple weeks, even a month, you'll start to build stronger synapses in your brain, and the neuroplasticity will mean that a growth mindset will be developed in you. So that's just a little tip. When you brush your teeth, reflect on the day that's just been and think about how aligned you were, your behaviours, your thoughts, to a growth mindset, and that will help you on your journey to building one. So in summary, 3 things that I'm leaving with you. Have clarity on your passions and what you love. Connect, learn, and continually learn, and do what you can to develop a growth mindset. Thanks, everyone.